Hello and welcome to Outfest 2020 and to the Q&A for T11 Incomplete, directed by Suzanne Gwacki. My name is Jennifer Wilson and I'm a consulting programmer for the festival. Please welcome our guests from the film. I'm going to have each of them introduce themselves and please say your name and the name of the character that you play.
Karen Silas. I played Kate.
I'm Suzanne Gwacki. I'm the writer-director.
I'm Colin Bates, and I played Steve.
Okay, I'll go. Sorry about that. I was having a little phone issue. I am Kristen Brenton, and I'm going to sneeze. I play Laura.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Yeah.
I'm Zach Booth and I played Jack.
Did Lauren introduce herself?
I'm Lauren Russell. I play Christy.
Good. Thank you, everybody. So, Suzanne, you're actually an Outfest alumni. You had a film in the festival in 2015, which Karen was also in, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
For Suzanne, in terms of writing this, do you want to talk about what was the inspiration for telling this story?
Yeah. When I sat down to write, I really just wanted to write a story that had disability in it somehow. I didn't know exactly how, and I wanted to write a story about a nurse. Nurses have been a pretty huge part of my life through my own disability, my own accident, and getting well from that. Both of my in-laws were on hospice care at our home, so hospice nurses were in and out. So I've, tons of nurses in my family. I don't know, I just had a very strong feeling that I needed to write a nursing story. But I didn't know in what regard, what kind of nurse should be an ER nurse. And so I just started researching, and I read Christopher Reeve's story. And I learned about, he was a quadriplegic, but about paraplegia and how you go down the spinal column, and the higher you are, the less pretty much your body is able to do. And the lower that you go down the spinal cord, the more you're able to do. So I was thinking that possibly it could be a paraplegic. And I read that there's two types of paraplegics, and I had no idea. I was very naive, and I thought, paraplegia just meant complete numb, being numb. And I read that there's a complete and an incomplete paraplegic, and that an incomplete paraplegic still had some ability to feel, that they weren't completely numb. And when I read that, something just, burst inside me. And I thought, okay, that's my way into the script, into the story, and to, not only have our literal paraplegic who has the literal injury, but, I wanted to color everybody in the script with their own sort of metaphorical damage or severing that altered their lives as well. And so that was pretty much the way in. It just came from wanting to write something about disability, being a disabled woman.
Yeah, what I thought was really interesting about this movie is that people are disabled in all kinds of ways in this film. Some visible and some invisible, right? We have someone with a physical disability, but we also have people with addictions and possibly with the sex addiction as well. So was that something you sort of envisioned along with someone having a visible physical? You also wanted characters with invisible disabilities as well?
Absolutely. That was part of it. And the bottom line is who is the more broken? Is it the physical body that's broken, or is it the spirit that's broken? And yeah, so that was definitely it. And to take that even further was then we wanted to cast people with not only visible disabilities, but those invisible disabilities to, have disability not just be in our story, but have it run through the entire fabric of who is making this film, so that's why, we luckily got Kristen, we got Lauren, and just sort of changed the whole feel of the film as well, because it just made it a little more, I think, authentic on many levels.
So for each of the actors, can you talk about what was it about this film that made you want to be involved with it? Let's start with Kristen.
Well, when I first read the script, I just thought it was so profound and so deep and so wonderfully written. I knew it was going to be a challenge due to obvious reasons. I actually ended up working with a really wonderful woman, Lena, who actually has the same injury that my character has. And I learned so much from her, not just about the physicality of being in the chair, but what that injury does to your daily life, to little things that we take for granted every day. I worked really hard with her over a period of 3 months prior to filming. And, I really wanted to make sure that I stayed authentic, that I represented the community in a positive light, in the right way. And I think this is by far the most challenging job I've ever taken. And I really wanted to see what that process looked like. So I was really excited when she approached me to do it, and I just hopped right on board.
Okay, for Karen.
Well, I have a little longer history with Suzanne, and when we worked together and stuff, we developed a really close friendship and really inspired each other on many levels. So when she said she had written something with me in mind, I ate it up. I just was like, that is yummy. That's just, it's so not me, like Kate. I can't even, there's stories, I don't even want to go there, but I think I had 1 or 2 days off the entire time. And when I came back to the set, although we were all living with each other, but, and I just had a little step in my step, like she said, where's Kate? Like just had to go right into the character always. So yeah, it was a challenge for me, a different kind of character. I mean, I've played women that are deep and reflective and alone and wounded, but this was a little different. This was layered in a way, like Kristen said, in a deep way. When I first read it, like, it's so funny. I took all my notes out because I keep the original script. I have everything out here and I write questions because I'm just such an actor studio method freak. And like, why is she stealing? Why is she, how did she become an alcoholic? Like all this stuff, so much fun. What Suzanne does is, in my opinion, she writes the bare minimum. And then you have to delve deep. So it's right up my alley because that's the way I was trained. I immediately went right into creating my own story. So that's what intrigued me to the script and really, and also my relationship with her, which hopefully we'll be working together for the rest of our lives.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Okay, for Zach.
I just wanted to unmute myself because it's a little noisy here. It's just so nice to see all these people again, and I'm so grateful that this having such a wonderful platform, and grateful to the festival for the support. For me, like, I was certainly intrigued reading the script, and it was sent my direction by a casting director named Judy Bowman in New York, who is just a fantastic person and a fantastic somebody I've known for a long time, of course, in my career. And so when she sends something my way, I always am curious because of her desire to always work on great projects. So that started it. Then I read the script and I was like, oh, this is very interesting. This is a world sort of talking about the physical disability, a world that I really know very little about and for except for. and then I have to say, like, you know, you meet Suzanne. It's telling me my connection is unstable, so I don't know if you're hearing anything I'm saying.
We
But
can hear you.
okay, great.
If you'd prefer, you can turn your video off. That will maybe make your
Oh, I don't mind it. It has the
audio
facial
stronger.
filter thing, so I think it makes me look great.
Okay.
But yeah, you meet, you know, I met Suzanne and I even just spoke with her, and I was like, I don't, you, somebody, you're like, I died with this person. I mean, I've seen some of her previous films, and I was so taken by this script, and I just was like, this is a person that is going to execute this film. And that's often for me, like the doubt with an independent film. You're just like, we're going to put in all this work, and then what?
Yeah.
You know, and I just said, this is a captain of a ship that I would be on, you know, and I'm just so proud of what the film turned into. And then on top, you know, then like Karen, you know, you watch any of her film, you're just like, this is somebody who is so dedicated to the truth, right? It's like she's gonna like rip it apart until she gets to the truth. And I admire that so much. And I was like, oh, so maybe I'll like get a little better at acting along the way. You know, like there were all these great reasons to do the film. I don't know. I can't really boil it down, but yeah, that's some of it.
Okay, so for Colin, the same question.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, Zach, what you said, I really respect Judy and whatever Judy sends over. She's a great casting director, and she sent over the script, and I just thought it was beautiful and really a really human, a messy story, a messy human story, and you know, we need that. It's truthful. It's truth, and especially in this time, there's a lot of messy stories happening, and just whatever. Anyways, it was just a messy human story. And then I talked with Suzanne, and Suzanne just is amazing. So she's just great. And then I watched Stuff, her film, and I just thought that was, look, if she did that before, then the next one's gonna be, you know, this as good as, if not better. And they're both beautiful films. And then also just Steve, look,
Steve.
Steve, yeah, Steve. So I was just like, when Suzanne trusted me, like to play Steve, like I'm not Steve, like I'm not Steve. So to be able to I know a lot of Steves, you know, I know a lot of Steves, and I know a lot of closed-minded people who are overprotective and damaged and, you know, and wounded and just want to control everything. And you know, Steve's faults come from love, but you know, they're faults. and just when Suzanne trusted me to play Steve and to really take on the character, I thought it was a really nice challenge, and a subtle challenge. And it was no, it was a big challenge, but I think I did it subtly, and it was just fun. Yeah, it was just great. And on set was just amazing. Like, it was such a homey atmosphere, and everyone was just like there. Like, then when I got on set, it was just like, this is right. This just felt right. So, yeah.
Okay, last for Lauren.
Okay, I'll go quick because of time. But yeah, Judy reached out to me, and I was super excited because that she had thought of me because of just being in the LGBTQ community publicly, and also having an invisible illness. It kind of, I think, was a perfect fit. And I was so excited that she thought about me. And then meeting Suzanne and reading the script, it was incredible. So I was a yes from the beginning, and it was just a beautiful experience. It was perfect kind of matchup for us, I think.
So for Karen and Kristen, Kristen, we'll have you go first. What do you think it was that you related to most about this character of Laura?
Good one. She and I both, we have a disability. She and I both have suffered a loss, a tragic loss. And I think just, you know, her loneliness and her kind of admitting, but also not admitting at the same time that she, you know, that she wanted someone. I think that I've struggled with that as well. So it was, there were a lot of different layers that I could identify and relate to, you know, and I think just the, you know, her heaviness and her interesting kind of family dynamic. I think there was a lot of different things that I could relate to my character. Yeah.
For Karen, what do you think
Yeah.
you related to most?
What did I relate to the most? It's interesting because Kristen, what you were saying is very much how I would respond. Just this deep disconnection to an idea of what life should be, and it's not. And that wake-up call where you go, shit, this is not what it is supposed to be, and look at where I'm at. So I think it was the wake-up call for Kate that really connected me to the character, because I didn't want to muddle in the depression and the alcoholism and the past and the addictions and the awful things I did to my son by, you know, not being present and, you know, I mean, so many awful things. So I think it was the wake-up call for Kate that really locked me into this character, because that's a survivor. That's a person who goes, that's past. I cannot continue to, ask for forgiveness. I have to forgive myself and move on.
I want to say that I'm super grateful to you, Suzanne, and to all of you for working on this film. I have a spinal cord injury as well, and mine's kind of invisible. I'm a T3, L3, L4 incomplete. So I have injuries.
Wow.
I have injuries to my horse tail. And you're absolutely correct. The lower down on your spinal column your injury is, the more that you'll retain. So I have a lot of dead nerve endings in my legs and feet, and I trip and fall a lot. But seeing this film, I was like, I'm so grateful that this came to me, because there's no rule book on how to deal with the mental health issues that come with having a disability. And there's no rule book that says, should I be open about these things that are dysfunctional on me, or should I try to pretend like I'm completely normal when I'm not? So sometimes people have thought that I was falling down because I was drunk because I didn't tell anybody that I have a disability. So it's just made me think about a lot, and I feel so grateful that this film came. I have admired all of you. I could do an interview with each one of you individually. I've admired all of your work so much over the years. And I just thank you so much for participating in this Q&A. You know, we were talking before this Q&A officially began about where the coronavirus and the quarantine has sort of all thrown us all into existential examination and into the idea of changing our lives in ways that we never thought. And a lot of you have moved, considering moving to different parts of the country. Just wondered if anybody else wanted to say anything about that. Because I thought that part of our conversation was really interesting.
I think what we were discussing, about it's really opened our eyes to different priorities, and really having us take a step back and say, what is important, what truthfully does matter, and what really doesn't, and what are we as a society emphasizing that we really shouldn't be. And I think that that's like the one positive thing that's come out of the coronavirus is that we all are kind of embracing this moment and saying, you know what, you only get one life. Let's live it the way we want to. And I think that's really important because it goes by so quickly.
It does. And I think that realizing just how little control we have of anything in our lives was a big wake up. I mean, having an accident, I mean, people who have had injury or accident, I know when after my accident, I felt like this realization that, you know, I control nothing, and things, you know, there's only just so much I can do in the day to day, but there is something bigger at work, you know, a bigger force that, you know, is opening all our eyes, I think. And, you know, maybe this is a beautiful thing that's happened, that we all kind of take a step and reflect, and we just see the world in a completely less self-centered, you know, way. We don't, you know, worry about fears and things that are simply about us, that we're looking more outward rather than inward.
But yet by being forced to look inward more, we're looking more outward. Like by actually having a lot of self-reflection and spending time with yourself. People, I mean, I know I'm getting to know myself, and by getting to know myself more, I'm able to deal with other people around me in a better way all the time. And it's just, I guess it's one good thing about, like you were saying, Kristen, it's one good thing about this situation.
Well, thank you everybody for your thoughts. I really appreciate that. I really love interviews where people speak from their heart, and I feel like that's what this work is all about, for me, what film work is all about. And thank you for being part of Outfest. What's next for this film? Are you going to be in other festivals?
Yeah, we have a few lined up until probably October. There's 3 or 4 coming down the line. And then, there's been some talk about different things. So we'll see. Hopefully it'll get snatched up by a distributor.
Some VOD possibilities.
Yeah.
Or maybe you can actually play in a movie theater, depending on how fast we get a vaccine, I guess.
Hey, I was in France 3 weeks ago, and I saw a movie.
I hate you.
I saw a movie in the theaters in France, and they took care of it. And it is just, I believe we can get there, and with the proper, you know, if our country can, you know, actually have get it together. I don't know. Maybe there's too. But then we can be like France, and we can go to movies.
No, it's true. When I think about what I'm most looking forward to, what's going to be the biggest celebration, it's going to a movie again.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. And the theater.
Yes, live theater. Yes.
That would be really nice.
It's called The Deer Hunter. It was beautiful.
Well, thank you so much for all of you. I wish you all the best in health and happiness, and wish you all the best of luck on the movie as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.